Look, I need to talk to you about something that's been keeping me up at night. And honestly, it should probably concern you too if you're a Dolly Parton fan. Because what just happened behind closed doors is way more serious than what we're being told. Just last night, Dolly's own sister broke her silence on social media. And what she revealed has everyone asking the same question. How bad is this really? But before I tell you what Freda said that has the entire country music world on edge right now, you need to understand what's been happening over the past few weeks, because the timeline here is absolutely crucial. October 7th, that's when everything changed. Freda Parton, Dolly's younger sister, posted something on Facebook that sent shockwaves through the entire fan base. And I'm going to tell you exactly what she said in just a second, but first, think about this. When was the last time you saw a family member publicly ask millions of strangers to pray for someone? That alone should tell you something. Freda wrote, and I'm paraphrasing here, that she spent the entire previous night awake praying for Dolly because her sister hasn't been feeling her best lately. Now, hasn't been feeling her best is the kind of phrase that makes my journalistic instincts go wild, because what does that actually mean? We're talking about Dolly Parton here, the woman who literally built an empire while maintaining the most positive public persona in entertainment history. For her sister to admit publicly that something's wrong, that's huge. But here's where it gets even more intense, and this is the part that really got to me personally. Freda specifically asked the entire world, everyone who loves Dolly, to become what she called prayer warriors. Prayer warriors. That's not casual language. That's not, hey, send some good vibes. That's a sister who's genuinely worried, reaching out to millions of people for spiritual support. And the timing of this plea is what's absolutely critical here, because it came just over a week after Dolly herself made an announcement that shocked everyone. September 28th, remember that date, because that's when Dolly posted on Instagram about postponing her Las Vegas concerts. Now, at first it seemed like maybe just a minor hiccup. You know how these things go with celebrities and scheduling conflicts? But then you actually read what she wrote, and suddenly everything feels different. She started off with her trademark humor, making a joke about how the medical treatment she needs isn't her usual trip to see her plastic surgeon. Classic Dolly, always deflecting with humor. But then the tone shifted completely. She got serious, and when Dolly Parton gets serious, you need to pay attention, because that woman has spent 79 years perfecting the art of staying positive no matter what. She told her fans straight up that doctors informed her she needs to undergo several procedures, multiple procedures, not just one. And here's what's eating at me. She never specified what those procedures are for. In an era where celebrities share everything, where social media has made privacy almost obsolete, Dolly Parton, the most open-hearted woman in country music, is keeping her medical situation private. That tells me it's either extremely personal or extremely serious, possibly both. But wait, because there's another layer to this that most people aren't connecting, and it's the reason I think we're not getting the full story yet. Dolly mentioned she wouldn't be able to rehearse and put together the kind of show her fans deserve to see. Now, think about that for a second. This is a woman who's been performing for over 60 decades, someone who could probably do a 2-hour show in her sleep at this point. For her to say she can't even rehearse, that whatever medical situation she's dealing with is so significant that it's affecting her ability to prepare for performances months in advance, that's concerning on a whole different level. And here's the kicker that nobody's really talking about. She didn't just postpone those Vegas shows by a few weeks or even a couple months. She pushed them from December 2025 all the way to September 2026. That's a 9-month delay, folks. 9 months. What kind of medical procedures require a 9-month recovery period? I'll tell you what kind. Major ones, the kind that fundamentally change your daily capabilities for an extended period of time. But before you start spiraling into worst-case scenarios, and trust me, I've been there myself because I genuinely admire this woman, there's more context we need to examine here. Let me take you back a bit further, because this health crisis didn't just appear out of nowhere. Earlier this year, Dolly was forced to pull out of a Dollywood event, and at that time we got a specific diagnosis: kidney stone. Now, if you've ever had a kidney stone or know someone who has, you know they're incredibly painful. Like, some people say it's worse than childbirth painful. But here's where my investigative brain starts working overtime. Kidney stones are usually treated and resolved relatively quickly in most cases. They're not the kind of condition that keeps someone down for months on end unless there are complications. So either the kidney stone situation was far more severe than we were initially told, or it's connected to a larger health issue that hasn't been fully disclosed yet. And honestly, given Freda's recent plea for prayers and the vague nature of Dolly's announcements, I'm leaning toward the latter explanation. There's something bigger happening here that the family is either still figuring out themselves or choosing to keep private until they have more answers. Now, let me share something personal with you for a moment because I think it's important. I've been covering celebrity news for years now, and I've seen countless health scares, PR statements, and family responses to medical crises. What Freda posted is different. There's a rawness to it, an honesty that you don't usually see in these carefully crafted public statements. When she said she was up all night praying, I believe her. When she called Dolly strong and loved, you can feel the emotion behind those words. This isn't a publicist managing a narrative. This is a scared sister reaching out to the only community big enough to match her love for Dolly, which is all of us, the fans. And that vulnerability, that willingness to admit fear and ask for help, that's what's making this situation feel so much more real and so much more concerning than your typical celebrity health update. But here's what's really keeping me awake at night, and I want you to think about this carefully. Dolly Parton is 79 years old. At that age, even minor medical procedures carry increased risks. The recovery time is longer, the complications are more common, and the body simply doesn't bounce back the way it does when you're younger. So combine that with the fact that Dolly has maintained an absolutely grueling schedule for decades. This woman runs a business empire, records music, performs concerts, manages Dollywood, does charitable work, makes movies and TV appearances, and writes constantly. She's famously said that she doesn't need much sleep, that she's up early working on projects while the rest of the world is still in bed. That kind of lifestyle, while impressive and inspiring, takes a toll on the body over time. There's no way around that biological reality. So when someone with that level of constant activity suddenly has to stop everything for medical procedures and a 9-month recovery period, it raises serious questions about what's really going on beneath the surface. And the fact that her sister felt compelled to publicly ask for prayers suggests that even the family is worried about how this is all going to unfold. Now, here's another angle that I think is worth considering, and this is pure speculation on my part, but I think it's informed speculation based on patterns we've seen before. When celebrities postpone major commitments like Vegas residencies or concert tours, there's usually significant financial and legal implications involved. Venues get booked years in advance, tickets get sold, contracts get signed, and breaking those agreements isn't taken lightly in the entertainment industry. For Dolly to push everything back 9 months, she and her team must have provided pretty compelling medical documentation to justify that kind of delay. You don't just call up a Vegas casino and say, hey, can we move this to next year without some serious proof that it's medically necessary? So whatever procedure she's having, they're significant enough that venues, promoters, and lawyers all agreed this postponement was absolutely essential. That level of universal agreement on rescheduling tells me we're not talking about something minor or elective here. We're talking about medical necessity, the kind where doctors are saying you have no choice but to do this now and take the time needed to recover properly. Now, let's talk about what happens next, because that's what everyone is really wondering about. Freda's message, while emotional and heartfelt, actually contains something really important that I think got overlooked in all the concern and speculation. She said, and I'm paraphrasing again, that she knows in her heart Dolly is going to be just fine. That's not false optimism from a delusional family member. That's someone who's been talking to doctors, getting updates, and has reason to believe that while the situation is serious, it's manageable. She called Dolly strong, which, let's be honest, is probably the most accurate description of that woman you could possibly give. Dolly Parton has survived poverty, industry sexism, personal tragedies, business setbacks, and decades of public scrutiny while maintaining grace, humor, and an unshakable positive attitude. If anyone has the mental and emotional strength to get through a major health challenge, it's her. But strength alone isn't always enough when you're dealing with medical issues, especially at 79, which is why those prayers Freda asked for actually matter more than you might think. regardless of your personal beliefs about faith and spirituality. There's something powerful about collective positive energy, about millions of people around the world simultaneously holding someone in their thoughts and sending goodwill their direction. Does it physically heal the body? That's not for me to say. But does it provide emotional and spiritual support that can genuinely help someone through a difficult time? Absolutely. And Dolly, who has always been open about her faith and her belief in the power of prayer, is probably drawing real strength from knowing that so many people are rooting for her. That's not nothing. That's actually huge. And I personally hope she can feel